Hi.
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Nyesha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
All right, my friends, once again, it is indeed time to get our talk on. It's Morning Talk. I'm your host, J.C. McCauley, along with the champions of talk this morning. We have talk champion Cleo, Duke-Wright in the house. Good morning, Miss Cleo. How are you?
Oh, good morning, Stan. I'm pretty good today.
How was your week? I haven't seen you in
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. How you doing?
I wasn't feeling. I was a little under the weather last week, but I'm pretty good this week. Doing pretty good. It was a rough week as usual. I always say that. I'm only gonna say it's an easy week. Monday I will. Oh yeah. So my husband got a diagnosis. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. We've been going around for a long time, but now we got a diagnosis and
trying to figure out why he's unstable, right? Or falling?
Right. He's falling, getting stiff. So yeah. So they sent me to UConn to a specialist, and he's consultant. He said it's Dr. K. I can't pronounce his name, and put him on some medication that helped him a lot, and then we went to the special hospital in New Britain.
Oh.
And he's getting some more care, and so it's a lot of running throughout the week, but if it works, because we've been waiting so long and talking to so many and so many tests and not really a diagnosis at all. So now have kind of a diagnosis, and he's reacting to their treatment, so it is good.
Favorably,
yes.
Okay. Other family members doing well?
Yeah, and other family members are doing well. My son is doing well. He gets a little better every day, and my grandchildren are all right, and my son in Florida is, doing his thing, telling me, how hot it is, and they're going out to the pool. I said, all right. So they're doing good. Everyone's doing good. It's
hot in Florida.
It's hot in Florida.
It's always hot and it's humid.
Yeah, and he's thinking about coming back here. I said, no, you're not. His children are Florida people. So I don't think he's really coming back, and I wouldn't like it either. Where would I go? For?
Oh, I got you. See, you have a reason to go visit.
I can go visit. It's so wonderful to visit them and stay there. I don't care how hot it is, but their house it's air conditioned, so their house is always cold. And I always need blankets because they keep the air conditioning so high. Because I guess they use it, but I like being out in the sun. I like the heat, if I don't have to stay in it all day, so it's nice. It's a nice vacation. So we're going to try again this year to visit them.
Oh, okay.
If everything it works out all right. We're going to try to visit. They said, come on down. I said, oh, gosh. Yes, here we go. We tried a couple of years ago, but it didn't work out. But so this year we'll try again.
Sounds great. I had an opportunity to talk to a friend of mine I had no idea that she was involved with the Connecticut's Department of Aging. And we're going to get and have a couple of people come in and talk to us, line up some guests about all the things you really need to know as you prepare to get
I used to think that was
to get older.
so boring. I didn't really like to listen to it. But now I kind of wish, now that I'm old, I kind of wished that I had done a little better planning and paying attention, because right now I'm going through some insurance fraud.
That's you mentioned that when you were last here.
And I'm trying to, I tried my very best. I said, did I forget that I took this out? I wouldn't have taken this out like this. This doesn't do me any good. Why would I take this out like this? Mm-hmm. And then I said, to the gentleman, to the agent who sold me the insurance, I said, have I ever met you? I don't remember ever meeting you. Did I ever sign anything? I don't remember signing anything with you. I don't know you. So that's one thing. So I don't know how that's going to turn out. And then the other thing is, now this, you really have to pay. I'm learning, I'm kind of flighty in a lot of ways, creatively flighty. Mm-hmm. I'll say that. Mm-hmm. And I don't really like talking about money. Mm-hmm. Getting down and so boring. I used to think, oh God, this is so boring. So, but I'm learning my lesson, because then there's another insurance, and I said, what is this insurance? And they kept saying, you don't have any insurance. It's canceled. You don't have any insurance. It's canceled. It never was activated. And I said, then how come you keep taking money out of my account every month? And then I went to the credit union, and mm-hmm. they gave me this sheet that says a whole year has gone by. They're taking this money. I said, this is a whole year. But they would. So I did a complaint or something, and they gave me 2 months back. So I'm thinking that's what it was. It's just doesn't make sense. So then I kept calling the insurance company. And one agent asked me for my routing number and my bank account number, and they found the insurance, which was on my husband. And I said, well, what kind of insurance is this? He wouldn't have taken on insurance. It would have to be me. So I said, what kind of insurance is this? And they said, it's not in your name, and blah, 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 blah. And they asked me, who is the beneficiary on this insurance? I said, I would have to be. They said, no, it's not your name. And then they said, what is the Social Security number?
Oh, geez.
So I gave them the Social Security number.
They're like mining information.
Yeah. I gave them the Social Security. They said, that's not the Social Security number on this policy. I said, whoa, where did this policy come from? Because if it's not that, and it's not my husband's Social Security if it's not that. So,
you have to be careful, because they're when you're giving them very important info, routing number, Social Security number, and the bank.
Yeah, well, they already had that. Because they're taking money out of my bank account every month. So they had that information.
Right, but did they read it to you and you verify it, or you told them?
No, I told them, and they found the insurance policy that the money was covering.
Okay.
So they found an insurance.
Oh, you're talking to the insurance agent.
The insurance company, yeah.
The company, right. And this is a trusted company.
I don't know, because then they gave me the agent's name. I said, I know that agent. Because he sold me my...
See, that sounds very scamish.
My life insurance policy. So I said, I know that agent. So I called him up. He said, oh, Miss Cleo, I'll be glad to give you all the information. I'm a minister now, and you encouraged me to write these books, mm-hmm. And he wrote books and everything. I really liked this guy when he came to the bookstore, because I remember him, but I only remember seeing him once. I don't remember seeing him twice. But I might have, I said, I'm getting older. I might have. So he said, I'll give you all the information. And he did. He gave me all the information and gave me the papers. And I'm looking at this. And I'm looking at it. I said, well, I said, some of this information is not correct. And I'm looking. So I had some real concerns when I'm looking at this thing. And I had some real concerns. And he said, well, mistakes could happen. It could just be a mistake. And I said, and how old is this policy? Hold on to you. Now this really tells me that I was not 10. The policy is 10 years old. So I said, oh my God.
Now, he told you the policy's 10 years old, or you saw that the policy is 10 years old?
The policy was taken out 10 years ago. I saw it on 10 years ago.
Okay.
So I said, no, the bank gave me 1 year. Was I paying for this 10 years or not? I don't know. So anyway, I'm just very confused. So I called up before the insurance commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
But he's, because I thought you go through the insurance commissioner and the insurance company would take care of everything. If I'm making a mistake, then they would say, you made a mistake because of this, that, and the other thing. And I would say, okay, I made a mistake. But some things I couldn't make a mistake on.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the insurance company, the commissioner said he collects information from all the sources and he sends it to me. And I'm saying, that doesn't seem. He says, have you ever thought about going to the police? Because that's fraud. Did you ever think about going to the police? And I said, I've never entered my mind ever. It never entered my mind that this was a kind of a case that you would prosecute, that you would go to the police about. So finally I did. And I don't know what's happening. I'm in limbo right now, but I just feel that I was not diligent in my looking at my bank statements. I obviously, for those two insurances, and God knows what else people got over on me because I was not paying attention. So now I'm so nervous about doing anything that I look at everything, and and I had a case where someone took out a phone on Xfinity, and I called my credit card company. I said, that's fraud. And then they took a ride for $2 and something. And I said, that's not me. I don't take a ride for,
Mm-hmm.
And they investigated it, and they said it wasn't fraud. So I don't know. I said, well, I never had an Xfinity phone, a mobile phone ever. And I didn't do this ride thing. And they said, no, Xfinity here says, we don't know anything about that because we only charge you for my phone, my landline phone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's all they charged me for in my bill. But these other they come from Pennsylvania, and says I have a phone. I never had a phone, and I never took any rides, and so I had to change my credit card. But still, Xfinity is texting me to pay my bill, and I have no idea what they're talking about. And
well, the text is coming from Infinity. It's not like Infinity's.
So I'm saying, my goodness, I called my insurance company and they asked me. I said, no, it's not mine. Yet they said it's not fraud, so I don't know what it is. If it's not fraud, and I don't have a phone, so I'm not paying the bill anymore, and I don't have the phone. But they said it wasn't fraud, and I didn't understand that. Well, how could you say it's not fraud when I don't have a phone?
Yeah, see, I'm going to get someone to come in and talk to our audience and help to enlighten our viewers on this. There's the scams and the fraud that they're doing to seniors is just off the chain. It's off the chain. If they can get you to say out your mouth what the routing number is and your social security number and your bank.
I didn't give them his social security number. I didn't give them any social security information. They just told me it wasn't the social security number on the policy. And then when I saw the social security number on the policy when he gave it to me, I said, "This is not my husband's social security."
Okay.
But I did not tell him.
Okay. Yeah.
What his, because why would I do that? Then he could somehow
right
manipulate something.
You'd be surprised how many people actually do.
Yeah.
They do.
And they could say, "Ooh, this is," and he said that it just could be a typo or a mistake. I said, can't be a typo or a mistake if the insurance company is telling me that it is not my, when I gave them that's the wrong social security number. So, but when I looked up my insurances, that's what they asked me. When I called on the phone, they asked me date of birth, and they asked me my full social security number. Now, there's a lot of people who ask you for your social security number, but I thought really that you only needed to give your social security number to the government. That everybody and their mama shouldn't be asking you for your social security number, but you can't get things done like insurances and other things unless you give them your whole social security number. So your social security number is just out there.
I don't know. I the only people I've given social security, my entire social security number to, is for like a W-9 for like clients. Other than that, I won't. I'm not giving nobody my social, especially over the phone. I'm totally untrusting talking to any kind of folks over the phone. I need to go to where your office is, sit down, and conduct that kind of business. Eye to eye or over, because
I'm just out there, and this man who I never met, I obviously gave him my social security number, or he got it from somewhere. He said he received a card, or something. So I don't know, and so I'm just totally vulnerable. I hope other people are wiser than I've been. And not giving their information out or any of that stuff, because that's taking a chance. And I saw someone in a gas station. This man came in the gas station. He said, "These phones are the worst things that they ever created." He said, "Someone can walk up to you, put their phone next to your phone, and get all your information." So I guess he got burnt too. The man behind the counter at the gas station got burnt. He didn't trust anyone either. I said, my gosh, these phones were supposed to be, and this technology was supposed to be good, and it is good, I guess, if you use it for good, but you can use it for good or for bad. It's just equally good and equally bad.
Well, I think you have to be careful. It's no different than someone stealing your wallet. I mean, someone can take your wallet and
yeah, but just walk up to you and
they got to put their hands in your pocket and take your wallet or reach in your purse. But the phone, it's not a whole lot of people that do that. That's pretty. I would say it's as sophisticated as stealing a wallet. You really need to know what you're doing. But then what do you have on your phone? See, a lot of people have all kinds of stuff on their phone why do you have all that on your phone? My dad is 90. Sooner or later, he's going to figure out how to watch my program. I'm going to be in a world of trouble. because he's now operating his phone. He's getting more and more used to using the phone so he's going to start watch. He's going to tune into one of these morning programs. I'm going to get all kinds of trouble. I already know it. But he is old school. Remember when the man pouch was around?
Yes.
And and guys were carrying all. They had it's like a male version of a purse.
Yes. My father-in-law had one.
Oh my God, he has everything imaginable in this thing. Social Security. I get banking. I mean everything. I'm like, Dad. Why do you need to take this with you? Well, I might need it. If you need it, then tell whoever it is or wherever it is, I have to get back to you with that information. I mean, if you lose this, I mean, you don't even know what's in it. There's so much stuff in paper, slips, receipts, all you can't imagine what's in there. And then, of course, every time he needs to actually find something, it takes 5 to 10 minutes. I'm not exaggerating.
But it is in there.
He thinks it's in there. Well, actually, most of the stuff does wind up being in there. But you can put that stuff in a filing cabinet at home.
Yeah.
So that you don't lose it. So I say that to say this. A lot of people put all kinds of information literally stored on their phone. And I don't understand why. They got everything on it. They lose their phone, they're done. So it's a useful tool, but only to the degree that you make it a useful tool. I think people
overuse it? Are you saying they overuse it? Do you depend on it too much?
I think they're overly dependent on the phone, and they don't. It's a phone, or is it a computer that has an element that affords you the ability to call someone? It's a handheld computer. It's not a phone. So you're walking around with Social Security information, banking information, access to all kinds of stuff on the phone, that
shouldn't be on the phone.
In my opinion, these things shouldn't be on the phone.
And it's the one who puts everything on the phone. Everything. All her memory things, everything is on the phone.
You could have it stored on a digital device. You just don't take it with you. Because ultimately you need the phone to make phone call. Or receive a phone call.
Right.
And I'm becoming more and more of a fan of the way it used to be. I tried calling you earlier today. Oh, well, I haven't been home all day. You remember those days?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I left you a couple of messages. I can remember when the answer machine first came out.
So do I, yep.
And there was only 30 seconds that you could leave a message. Because, right in the middle of the message, it would beep. You'd have to call back. And then you had the device where you could use a tone and retrieve your message. And the phone was able to keep the message. But if you didn't answer, you weren't compelled to respond to the phone. Just call back.
I don't like having my phone with me. I think it interrupts my day. It's annoying.
Yeah.
You get so many ridiculous calls from people and people you don't know. I just don't like it. You did when you were home too, but you were home. You didn't have it with you all day long. I think after I worked for American Airlines, I was on the phone all day long talking to people. I did not like talking on the phone when I got home.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like talking on the phone. A lot now. A few people I carry on long conversations with, but those are a few people, not a lot of people. And there are some people I know who put up their phone after and tell their friends, don't call me after this hour because I'm not answering.
Hey, I've begun to leave my phone in this room. I leave it in here. That's because now I'm away from my office or my desk, and so the phone is not with me. I tried calling you, Ann. Well, you didn't answer the phone. I was busy.
Yeah, that's
because it's almost like, well, how could you be so busy you can't talk on the phone? It's like,
isn't it in your hand all the time? I know people who go out in the morning talking on their phone, come back at night talking on their phone all the. I would not be able to do that for anything in the world. I look at them in amazement. How do you talk on the phone all that time? Going out, coming in while you're here. Yeah. There's got to be some peace here.
For a short time, well, not a short time, for a long time, I will talk on the phone when I'm driving. Because to me, that's the best use of drive time. Is to get caught up and make conversation on the phone. So if I'm driving somewhere, I talk on the phone. So it became a habit. And so one time we were going somewhere and I was on the phone. And my wife got real upset with me. Ever since then, I don't answer the phone in the car unless it's an emergency. So I don't conversate on the phone in the car when I'm with my wife, because if you're on the phone, you're not with the person you're with.
Right.
You're with the person on the phone. They are commanding your full attention.
That's a scene in Why Did I Get Married?
Oh, is it?
What was that name of that phone? The Blueberry, the
BlackBerry.
The BlackBerry phone. Well, she was always on the phone, talking on the phone, and he was trying to talk to her. I think Tyler Perry was her husband, and she was trying to, and all she could do is just talking all the way down there, all the way up. That reminds me. I forgot what he did with the phone, or he did something. But that people do that. They just keep talking. I have friends who as soon as you get in the car with them, get on the phone. They don't talk to you. They talk on the phone.
Right. They make you feel like a cab driver.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what they make you feel like, a cab driver.
It's just a ride. I don't need to talk to you. In fact, I don't want to talk to you. I got a phone call.
So, the few times a day where I love talking on the phone, that's when my young man is having a physical therapy, and I have an hour. I talk on the phone or catch up with some messages or something like that. But when I get home at night, I really don't like calls, after a certain hour. I mean, if it's important, yes, but don't call me for nonsense. Don't call me. Don't call me for just anything at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. People, I think there should be a hashtag hang up the phone, or something like that, because where you there's a time where you're unavailable for phone calls. And so because I tell my dad, you don't have to answer the phone. Well, it might be important. If it's that important, they will call you back. And if it's super important, they'll stop by your house. I said, but, you wouldn't open the door for any old body.
And that's like open it. You're right.
But you open the phone. In fact, when he went to the hospital, he didn't show up for work. He's 90, drives a school bus. So he didn't show up for work. They immediately knew something was wrong because he never misses a day of work. He loves driving the school bus with little children. So he didn't show up. So they called, no answer. So they called the police. Police came to do a wellness check. Knocked on the door. He went to the door. He said, Mr. McCauley, we're doing a wellness check. He said, well, wellness for what? For you. He said, well, as you can see, I'm fine. I'm well. He said, well, he said, I don't, they wanted to know if you need any help. Then we go to the hospital. He said, no, go away. He closed the door. So his worker, his work buddies, came, got him, and took him to the hospital.
But the police did nothing.
They did nothing. I only use that as a backstory. Mm-hmm. Because he said, well, the people on the phone sound so trustworthy. I said, you know who you can trust and are really like official people? The police. When the police come to your house to do a wellness check because you're not well, you can trust them. They're the police. They're at your door. You wouldn't let them in. But you'll let a total stranger in who's supposedly here to let you know about a thing that you're missing out on and need information from you. So people are very trusting with folks on the phone. They let their guard down and they let the stranger not into their house, into their head. I mean, they got direct access to your head. The phone is in your ear. Hello. Hey, how's it going? They sound friendly on the phone, and you want to sound friendly back, and you could strike up a perfect conversation with a stranger over the phone, particularly if they're telling you something that you want to hear. Mm-hmm. And next thing you know, they got you. But you wouldn't let a stranger in your house. So I say to folks, why would you let a stranger into your sphere of influence, where they can influence you and have access to you that you wouldn't give a stranger off the street? But they are a stranger off the street. So I think people just need to reassess who they give access to themselves to.
But they can, on your phone, invade you. You could be doing some work on your computer, on your phone, and then all of a sudden this thing comes up and totally distracts you from what you're doing and talking about some nonsense, some do this or do this, buy this or something, some kind of advertising just comes up, just pops up. And then there's things that it pops up, but there's no Xing it out. It just stays there. There's no X, there's no arrow, there's nothing. It's just making noise in front of your face. Now that is annoying. That is so annoying when these things just pop up in your life. You didn't ask them to come in. They didn't knock on the door. They didn't do anything. They just come, just invade you. How do you stop that?
Well, it depends on they're getting very sophisticated. You might have to just swipe it away. Reduce it and then swipe it away.
Doesn't do anything. So I just turn the thing. I just close that thing.
Okay, well, yeah.
And then eventually, when I open it several hours later, there may be an X up there to exit out.
Yeah, you can't. There are ways to block these things, depending upon, of course, your phone and what it is. But, folks have to get savvy with the technology so that they can use it to their advantage and block things. But a lot of times people are unfamiliar with the phone. They get a new phone that operates differently, and then you got to kind of like learn it and stuff like that. So my dad is learning how to use the phone because he has no choice. And given the time that he has to just sit around, he's diving into the phone. So he has learned how to do stuff through the settings. I said, Dad, it's a lot easier, but hey, whatever works. So he goes into settings. He turns stuff on, turns stuff off, does stuff. That's how he's learning to use the phone. But once you get proficient at whatever it is, then you can operate the device. But I guess it's intimidating because there's no real like buttons on it. It's just this flat screen. Because a lot of people that are beyond their 50s, are intimidated by the phone. And then once you get into your 60s and 70s, folks are like, my dad doesn't like he doesn't, first of all, he doesn't want any of his stuff online, but he'll give anything you want over the phone. He'll switch up stuff over the phone. I think it's a scam. He's telling me it's cool. They call you up, tell you about all of the stuff that you don't know about. I think this is important for seniors to know. Being a senior, there are a lot of government benefits that you're not getting from your current insurance plan. And, I just want to make sure that you're getting the full benefits of what's being offered to you. Do you have this? Do you have, they start running through stuff. Well, we got a plan. You could switch this on your insurance. Plus, we'll give you a card that you can use for groceries. Get your car fixed. It's like the miracle card. It could do everything. So he tried to use it last week. Wouldn't work on stuff. It's not funny.
It's a scam.
I don't know that it's a scam per se. I think it's a hard sales tactic to get you to switch to a different company. Then the card's only good at a certain number of stores. You can only use it on certain items. And once you make the switch, then they don't care to give you this thing that's almost useless. And if you stop and think about what you get every month in terms of this buying power that the card gives you, it's not really worth it, in my opinion.
I don't go in for any of those. I learned now that since we have changed our plan, the last one I had no agent. I just changed it because I got mad at the insurance company that I was with. I've done that before. And but now with this agent, I mean, she tells me everything and what is this and what is that, and I think this is the blah 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 blah, and I listened to her, and we ended up really well off because she had the knowledge.
That's a trusted.
Yes, she had the knowledge, and I'm saying, wow, why didn't I have an agent before? And I did. I didn't have a real agent, and with this insurance policy, one of the agents said, yes, agents are supposed to look in on you every once in a while. Mm-hmm. If they sell you something and see if you're all right and see if it's working for you and all of that. And I've not had that experience except for this last time. I did not have any agent come back and see if I was all right, if the insurance was enough, if my lifestyle has changed, or I need something else. Years ago I did, mm-hmm. when my children were
that's a good agent.
Young. Agent was there all the time. You need, this is coming up, blah 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 blah, but not in many years has that happened. Mm-hmm. So no, I don't want any of them. I just oof.
Well, so much is.
I'm not trusting people. Mm-hmm. It took this lady a couple of years to really. She was my husband's agent, but she wasn't my agent, mm-hmm. and now she's both of our agents because she did a good job for my husband. So now she has both of us.
Well, it's been my observation that I was going to say things have changed so much, but I don't know. I think, well, I guess it has changed. Customer service has taken a nosedive, and it's gone from customer service to how much money can somebody extract from me. It's all about the profit. Mm-hmm. It's like you have money that I need, so if I can't take it from you, I'm going to trick it out of you. And if I can't trick it out of you, I'll do the bare minimum in order to get it. But it used to be that the service that you provided meant something to the service provider. Yeah. It's like your reputation is on the line. You're on the line because of the service you provide. And you want the customer to be happy. And so it's like, the customer be damned.
That's right.
You lucky I decided to help you. I mean, that's how go to the store, it's like you waiting in line, you're waiting because there is no line. It's just you. Yeah, they look around. Do they see me? Excuse me. Yeah. Can I see you. Hold on. It's like, am I disturbing you?
Yeah. It's not nice out there. And for seniors, it's even worse, I think.
It is.
I think for seniors, it's even worse. That they take advantage of us so much. And, now I wish I had been a little bit of a money person. But, no, I was never a money person. But I wish I had learned a little bit more about it and how to, because money's a tool.
Money is a tool.
How to handle that and everything. Now I'm getting, I hope I don't become a miser. Because I look at every dollar that I'm spending. I'm saying, I don't need that. Or no, we're not going there. Where's my money too? Maybe your money too, but we're not spending it today. I just want this, and I just want this. It's my money, So I say, all right, I'm gonna tell people you abusing me. All right. I got that this morning. I got that.
You can't.
So I said, oh, you go ahead, but we can't afford that. And I don't want to work for the rest of my life. So
you know what, though?
Settle this out.
You said something that people really need to wrap their heads around, young and old. And if you start this when you're younger, trust me when I tell you, you will be so glad because the years go by so fast. Lot faster than you will ever imagine. I can't afford that. I mean, there's power in those words. And so many people can't afford it. So that they go out of their way to get in debt so that they can have it. Because you can possess it and have it doesn't mean you can afford it.
That's right.
And if people live within their means, they'll actually have money so they can then go get what they can afford. But they want it like now.
Yeah.
If you can't afford something, it doesn't mean you can't eventually afford it. But you'll save, you work so that you could go and buy. If you buy something and own it as opposed to getting it on credit, you're paying for impatience. It's an impatience tax.
Yeah.
And you've been turned into a consumer. You just consume. If people buy stuff they don't even need, and once they don't need it, then they don't want it anymore.
My church has a thrift shop, right? Mm-hmm. The amount of articles and clothes that come in there with the tag still on them,
mind blowing.
Yeah, it is mind blowing. Nice things. People come in and just, nice things, never worn. I said, how do people buy so much and never wear it? They just wanted it at the time, and then when they got it home, maybe they didn't like it or something. But it just amazes me, the new things that we get in from people because they're changing something, or I don't want that anymore. I want this.
Yeah. Seasons change.
Yeah.
I gotta get a new this. I gotta get new that. I gotta do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, once upon a time, you bought stuff and you wore it until it wore out. Now people buy stuff, they'll wear it 2-3 times, and then it's old. I need something new. But the amount of money that you throw out, the money that you spend, people burn through.
They should be like
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
They should be like my son. Do you know how old this sweater is? It's older than Boo. Boo's going to be 20 in July. It's older than Boo. I had this. Do you know how old these pants are? Do you know how old this t-shirt is? Do you know how old these socks are? I said, Kobe, you need to buy some new clothes.
You can afford to get now.
But,
you're speaking to my heart because I've had this thing forever. I think you could go back and find programs I was on 20 years ago, and I got the same thing on. I could wear a piece of clothing for.
But
that's what dates you. Your clothes and your hairstyle, because you get locked into a place and you just stay there.
Yes, I saw this woman on television, and it was on one of those reality shows, and this was an actress, she older actress, and when she was young, she had this hairstyle, and they were making fun of her because she's in her 70s or something now. She's wearing that same hair. She had the same hairstyle that she had when she was young. Same. Probably that's why I recognize her. she looks the same to me, but it's the exact same hairstyle, and her friends were making fun of her,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we kind of, but there's some times I see an older person with this blonde hair or this totally black hair and this old face. I say, don't they know that that's not going to help them?
Right.
They just need to catch up with themselves.
Be comfortable in your own skin to live the life you have.
Yeah,
yeah.
I try to be fashionable, but I'm not. I try to be fashionable. But if I get too fashionable, before I get out the door, I get beat down. I get beat down by family, but, she has falsus and falsat, and that's not her hair, don't you? I don't know. Do all men talk that way? I don't know. My son talks that way. He looks at a woman and says, that ain't real. That ain't real. And this is.
I don't know. I'm not around. I shouldn't say I'm not around men that talk. Men around me don't talk about those things when they're around me. I can't say that they don't talk about those things when they're around other people.
Right. My son talks to me about when we're watching television. He tells me what is false. He says, women are so, look at all that paint on her face. Look at all that, that's not her hair. Why does all these women have the same hair?
Now, I notice immediately, I don't normally make comments, but the over makeup.
Over makeup, yeah.
Yeah, that I'm a plain washed face, For me, I like a washed face,
just washed face with
right.
no makeup, but you got to clean your face up.
Just a touch of makeup. We went out my wife's gonna kill me. We went out one day. I forget where we were going, but she went and got all made up and everything. She came with girls crying. The girls cried.
The girls cried.
Yes, my daughters. Because she looked so different with the makeup on. She didn't look real. And they were put back. This was a couple years ago. They're 14 and 12 now. 14 and 13 now. No, yeah, 14 and 13. Yes, because 7 will be 15. Because for a time they're 2 years apart. in age, number-wise, because they're 18 months.
Uh-huh.
So she's, this had to be maybe 8 years ago.
The girls got upset. She never did it
8
again.
years ago, 7 was 8. No. She's 14 now. 4. But she would have been
7.
7. Yeah, 7. So maybe about 7 years ago or so. 7, maybe 6 years ago.
Did she ever make up like that again?
No. Mm-mm. They cried. The husband would never say anything. And the husbands know better.
You best not.
Right. You know. You only need your wife to say to you one time, choose your next words wisely. Well, once she says that, then now you need to make an adjustment. Because where we go from here is up to you. That's what that means. So,
Yes, I've said that.
choose your next words wisely. That's a fair warning. So, husbands, well, if you graduate from husband school, you understand and know that how's this look, honey? Sweetheart, you look wonderful. Oh, stop, or whatever the case. But I don't really like that. What? You're done. You're done. Now, you could be, but the way you said it is wrong. I mean, something's gonna be wrong.
Well, my husband could say to me, of course he would not hesitate. He would not hesitate. I don't care what I said. If I said, choose your next words wisely, that would mean nothing to him. He'd say what he wanted to say anyway. Hurt my feelings to the bone. I mean, he has hurt my feelings so bad that I'd walk out the house. I won't come back all day because he really hurt my feelings. So that works sometimes. Sometimes for some people that does work. I've used that. Mm-hmm. But for some men and some women too, they just
now husbands, wives, partners, boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever the case may be. Some of them can be just absolutely ruthless to each other. And I don't understand. I mean, I get it and I do. I mean, I conceptually, intellectually, I understand. But I don't
what?
At the same time, paradoxically speaking, I don't understand why.
Say you've been married 30 years or so, depending on what those years were like.
Mm-hmm.
How your relationship is gonna be,
Yeah, but I don't think the years give you. The years shouldn't cause you to be mean.
True. The years.
I could see where you might be, because husbands and wives have a better understanding of each other, and where the actual limits are. And you just get more comfortable with each other to say or do things in each other's presence that you didn't do before. But now you know that it's not going to be a major issue. But that doesn't mean you could be mean. And I've seen some folks, men, be ruthlessly mean to their wives, and wives be equally mean to their husbands. I just don't understand where that comes.
This woman told me just the other day, I said, I've always wanted to be married for 50 years. I used to dream about being married for 50 years and walking in the park and just sitting down with my husband. That's never going to happen to me. Too late. But she said, are you kidding? 50 years? A lot of these people don't even sleep in the same room. They can't stand each other. They only tolerate each other because they've been together for so long. What else is there to do? She was telling me these things. I said, that's horrible. I said, that's horrible that they've been together for 50 years. They can't stand. She said, you would not believe how many couples cannot stand the sight of each other. They just tolerate it.
Wow.
Because
I've grown accustomed to being miserable with you.
But see, I never I thought if you made it to 50 years, things would almost be perfect. Because what else could he do to surprise you? What else could she do to surprise you? You must be used to all his ways. She must be used to all of yours. You obviously compromised something. You're still together after 50 years. Mm-hmm. So there must be something you like about each other. So when 50 years comes up, that stuff that you like about each other, that's really going to come to the forefront, and you're going to walk hand in hand through the fire. Mm-hmm. That's my story. That's my story. Those things that you loved about him or loved about her when you first met, they're all going to come to the forefront after all those years of toil and torment and raising kids and doing this. Mm-hmm. You can both sit down and say, hey, we made it. Let's go for a walk. Right. That's what I thought 50 years was. Mm-hmm. That's what I thought 50 years is, But I'm seeing people who marry, and this lady said to me, it might be, why, it was too late to divorce him. I've been with him 60 years. I just got to deal with it. I lost this, I lost that. And now he is all crippled up and I'm taking care of him. What's there to do?
Crippled up.
But I still think she wouldn't be with him if she didn't care something about it. Yeah. She cares about the man no matter what he did. Mm-hmm. Where she lost this, she lost that. It wasn't her fault. He didn't tell her she was doing this. All of a sudden, they didn't have any money. Mm-hmm. He didn't spend it all. He did something. But and after all of that, I said, she's taking care of that man, and she's taking good care of him. And hey, that's something that she liked about him when she first met him is still there.
Amen, and that's as it should be. As it should be. Yeah. Well, that's a good note to rest on.
Yeah.
It's Morning Talk. We're here every Tuesday. Join us, and we're gonna get some people. We're gonna get talk to her and see if we can't line up a couple of guests to talk about things you should be preparing for. All right.
Yes.
So thanks, Miss Cleo, for coming in. We will see you all shortly. I will take a short break. We'll come back with Jonathan Small for the second half. Listen a little Jay Hogarth. the great Jay Hogarth. Deluge. Jonathan Small is in the house. How's it going, Jonathan?
It's going fine, you know. God blessing you have another day of life, and don't take anything for granted, you know, as simplistic as that appears or that sounds. You know, you hear a lot of different stories throughout the country and throughout the world, so, you know, any day you can say it's another day and you're here, definitely feel blessed.
Well, amen.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, better to be in the presence of the Lord.
That's true, too. Getting closer to the Lord. I know you're a pastor, you're a man of God.
So, you know, every day here's another day to do the service, but it would be much better to be in the presence of the Most High.
Right.
So, yeah. But I understand. Most people are glad to be alive.
Well, especially when you hear some of the things that's going on, you know, throughout the world. And this morning or last night, some bridge in Baltimore.
Bridge in Baltimore. The Francis Scott.
I think that's it.
It's named after the man that did the national for Francis. I want to say Francis Key Scott.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason. Bridge, Baltimore Harbor.
Right. I mean, they're saying a cargo vessel, I guess.
Cargo vessel ran into the abutment of the. Took it out. I don't think people understand just how big cargo vessels are. I was listening to some of the reports, and people sound like they're trying to make it sound like a speedboat ran into it.
Mm-hmm.
But these things are huge. They're longer than a football field.
Yeah.
The mass of such a thing. You can't just stop that. And all of that mass, it just took it out. The whole bridge collapsed.
But why was it going? Don't you got certain regulations how a cargo vessel is supposed to go?
It doesn't have to go fast. It's not going fast. It's going. It's just a lot of weight. They have pilots, harbor pilots that navigate the ships through the harbor because that's their job. It's not the company's captain. It's not the ship's captain. The captain relinquishes control of the vessel to the harbor pilots, and they are supposed to know where this is. Someone made a mistake, clearly.
But I mean, does the vessel or the bridge supposed to go up? Like, is a type of structure?
It's not a drawbridge.
It's not a draw. So
it's a suspension bridge. Well, not a suspension bridge. It's a bridge. You know, it's a mile long.
But the cargo goes underneath the bridge?
Underneath it.
And it didn't have enough space to go underneath it?
There's enough space to go underneath it. It hit the pile.
The pile, okay.
You know, that support the bridge.
Right.
It took that out. When that one went down, you know.
It sounded like to me it got off course then. It wasn't.
It had to be off course. Out of the channel, off course, however you want to say it. Like the Exxon Valdez ran aground. I mean, these unfortunate catastrophes do happen. But I watch, and it's very interesting because I watch every night. I watch a series of documentaries. There's several of them on catastrophes and disasters, building collapses, crane collapses, bridges, trains, you know, planes. Not so much planes, but mostly industrial accidents. Mm-hmm. And I watch them every night.
You're into that.
Very much so. Yeah,
like
very much so. I think in another life I'd like to do a forensic analysis of this kind of stuff. But I did assembly quality assurance for Pratt & Whitney. So, you know, making sure things are assembled correctly is just...
It's important, yeah.
Yeah, it's incompetence, corruption, or bad engineering is mostly responsible for these things.
Well, there's still, I guess, it's a rescue operation, so let's
just hope. It just happened. Yeah, this morning, like 1:30ish or something. Yeah.
So let's hope, I don't know if it's 50. I don't know if it's 50 cars. A certain amount of cars just went.
I thought they said
underneath it.
7 cars.
Seven cars.
Seven
Yeah,
vehicles.
7 vehicles. That sounds more like it.
Yeah, it's ongoing. They won't know. They'll probably know in short order, but they'll do an investigation. It'll take a long time to make sure that they have everything. Ships sink, capsize, miscalculations, miscommunication. It wasn't foggy.
Well, it was ruled out it wasn't terrorism because obviously people are going to look into that first, and so far there's no sign of terrorism.
Not unless someone took over the bridge and purposely ran the ship into that, but that does not seem to be the case.
And just keep an eye on terrorism alert too. We know we have a high security system in our country, but never drop your guard.
You might want to protect. You might want to lift the guard by making sure that there aren't thousands of people entering the country.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be a terrorist, it's a perfect way to get in.
And that's a big problem now.
A huge problem.
Just the people entering the country, and obviously we don't want to get into pointing fingers at who's responsible for it.
I don't care who's responsible. Just needs to stop. Try getting into Russia like that and see what happens.
A lot harder to get into Russia than it is to get into the United States. That's what it sounds like you're saying.
It's hard to get into a lot of countries.
Right.
But everyone wants to come here. That's the big difference.
That's the key, yeah.
And, people are willing to risk their lives to get here. That should say something to the people who think this is the worst country ever. That there are hundreds of thousands of people willing to risk everything they have, including their life and the life of their families, to get here.
But it's sometimes like if you're comparing a worse situation, obviously I think the United States is the greatest country in the world. We have a lot to offer.
We are the greatest country in the world.
But people that are coming into our country are coming from countries that's worse. Yeah, so they're not coming on par.
Well, it got to be worse or less if we're the greatest.
But what makes the United States the greatest country in the world? I mean, that's easier said than done. I mean, when you balance everything out, we're
pick anything. Pick
economy, economics. We're so we're the best at that. Superior, our economic.
Last I, the international monetary standard monetary is the dollar.
The dollar, yeah.
Doesn't get any better than that.
Right.
When the dollar is no longer the standard, then we'll be in trouble. It's not to say that there aren't issues here.
Right.
I would say that most people think that their family is the best place for them to be, and that doesn't mean that there aren't problems. But they wouldn't want to be in a different family.
Right.
The country's the same way.
Well, I think we can still strive, and I know that's the key. Don't rest on your laurels. Even though we're the greatest country in the world, we still can make it better.
Anything could be made better.
Right.
Unless it's perfect. You don't want to mess with perfection. And as the old adage goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it, yeah.
A lot of people spend a lot of time trying to fix what's not broken.
Well, like I say, I still feel the country is the greatest country in the world. Now, keep in mind, I haven't been outside the country to a lot of other countries, but I think you get a better barometer when you do go outside of other countries. And I still think you could be within the country itself and still see that what makes our country the greatest country in the world towards what we have to offer. And, obviously, if your situation in a particular plight is at the bottom, it's easy to say, well, it's either the environment, it's the country I'm in, maybe it's myself.
Now, when you say your particular plight, are you talking about individuals?
Well, individuals. I mean, that would be a big starting point.
Well, I would say, where would you rather be in a plight, here or Panama?
Well, I would still say here.
You'd rather be here,
right?
Suffering, than in Afghanistan or Panama or pick a country. I would rather be here.
Well, that's another thing. We have a great safety system. You know, that might be a little different than economics, but we have one of the greatest, if not the best, safety systems.
I would say so.
In the world, if you look at it. I mean, people say, you know, Canada, England with their universal healthcare system is real good, but I hear flaws about that too. You know, I don't know if their inflation is off the chart.
Well, I mean, there's more to life than, you know, inflation. You know, the quality of life and the standard of living. Mm-hmm. Not do you have access to all the creature comforts that are available.
Right.
You know. Diddy has access to a whole lot of stuff, but life ain't going so good for him right now.
Well, if he's self-inflicting his own self.
Then most people are self-afflicting. They just not at that level of self-affliction. It's different. A lot of people make missteps as they climb the ladder. Mm-hmm. Now, falling from 40 floors as opposed to 3 feet is a big difference. Mm-hmm. But they nonetheless slip.
Right. And then our government, you still think that's another key. We have the best government structure in the world, would you say?
Things could absolutely be better, but I would not trade our government. I wouldn't want a different government. I have friends that want to destroy everything, burn it to the ground. Mm-hmm. But I'm not one. I'm not in that camp. Right.
We have the government structure that's great. It's just sometimes the people that's in government can be almost like the self-infliction wounds. You know, you got a great government, but you got people that's supposed to be running the government. Maybe they're not running it the best way that it needs to be run.
They're people.
Right.
They're people. Boeing. CEO, president of the board, and the chief of commercial aviation or design, someone. But 3 of the top people at Boeing, done.
Yeah, I heard about the CEO.
All of them resigning. Mm-hmm. Someone has to pay the price for the incompetence there. You never have to pay a price for incompetence in government. You get reelected. And therefore you have continued incompetence.
Right.
It's not difficult. It is not complicated. It's not deep. Mm-hmm. It's incompetence, corruption, or bad design. Mm-hmm. Period. And the problem is that people are okay with it.
Yeah.
Shareholders aren't okay with what's going on at Boeing because that costs them money. Mm-hmm. But people are okay when their government is incompetent. And so it continues. They don't accept that kind of incompetence from coaches.
Right.
The fans won't put up with it. Mm-hmm. They just won't.
Well, when you say people are okay, it's either you're apathetic or you're ignorant. You know, you just feel like it doesn't matter. You know,
there are no apathetic fans in football. Mm-hmm. The people who are involved in football, the people who consume football, basketball, they're not apathetic.
Right.
By nature, that they're fanatics or they're fans. Mm-hmm. And they will not tolerate continued failure. Mm-hmm. I mean, they'll give the team a chance, they'll give the coach a chance, but at some point.
So, you saying the government that we have in our country is failing? I mean, is that really what it comes
Well,
down?
no, I'm not saying necessarily that the government is failing, but when we talk about government being better, mm-hmm. and you said that the government, the people there aren't doing a good job, or they're not doing their job, or they're failing. Well, they're failing because people allow that to happen. And they keep electing the same people who are doing the bad job over and over again.
But what I was really saying was the government structure that we have here is great.
I agree with you.
It's just the people, how they're operating the government, you know.
And that's where I chimed in with, mm-hmm. if you got bad operators, then you get rid of them.
Right.
Or you don't. And if you don't, they continue to deliver bad service.
And we have the democracy of getting rid of people through the vote.
Absolutely. That's what makes. That's one of the things makes our government, in my opinion, so great, is that you can actually vote people out of office. That doesn't mean that people will, but you can.
Right.
You can't get rid of the king.
You mean the king of England or some other country where you have kings? Yeah.
King of England. But any king.
But they don't really run the government. I think they're just more of like a political figurehead. I mean,
they're more than political figurehead.
They're more than political figurehead, but they have still a government administration, like a prime minister.
They have a prime minister, but it's His Majesty's government, not the people's.
Not the people's government. So that's what you like, and that's what I think makes the United States better than those other countries. Is we have
it's our government,
right?
And where, and there are certain communities and certain groups that when the government isn't going the way they think it should go, they vote these people out.
Yeah.
You can't just do that any old where. But you could do it here.
We don't have a so-called dictatorship.
No.
People saying former President Trump wants to be a dictator, but he really can't. I have friends
that say that respectfully. That's just plain ridiculous.
Yeah, he can't be a dictatorship in our country. He could think he can.
Right. I mean, he can think he's Donald Duck. Who cares? So my thing is this: look, he wants to be a dictator. When he had an opportunity to do so, he didn't. Why? Because he was voted out of office. I mean, I don't understand what part of that folk don't understand. He was voted out.
Right.
Well, he tried to take, but even if he absolutely tried to take over, what happened? He failed. Yeah. So I mean, I don't get it. I don't get where the
He's not a true dictator. Sometimes he might feel he is a dictator, but he's not dictating and running the country on his own personal.
Any elected official with power, executive power, dictates. And you want to see some dictatorial behavior, go back to the pandemic.
Right.
When governors took over and started running things the way they wanted.
That's true.
Connecticut's governor did what he thought was best, and then the next state over is doing something totally different. One state, no shutdown, and next state is total lockdown. These are dictates.
Yeah.
There's no rhyme, no reason. Because it wasn't across the board the same. Everyone making up their own mind.
Yeah, I think
that's dictatorial edict by fiat, ruling by fiat. Because I say so.
Right.
So that comes along with the territory. But a dictator where you can't remove them from power? No.
Wasn't that how Cuba was with Castro? Or was
Cuba was a dictator.
Oh,
yeah, Fidel Castro.
Fidel Castro, you couldn't remove him.
You could try, but no, you would not. No.
Well, I think Cuba was a communist country. I mean, that's basically
a different governmental structure.
Right. So that would seem like our problems should be much easier to resolve. I know y'all had a big citizen advisory, the Greater Hartford African American Alliance.
Yeah.
Y'all put together a nice citizens patrol meeting.
Did you see it?
I seen it. I thought it was interesting.
I thought it was it went well. We got participation from community, and the overall consensus, the overwhelming consensus of the room was the citizen patrols as they are now are not something that the community wants.
Right. But up until this point, Stan, I really haven't heard your views. Are you in favor of gun patrol or not? I mean, I know you stay kind of neutral. You like to be kind of neutral on many topics. You don't like to really pick sides. Is that fair to say?
I'm neutral because I have to mediate and manage both sides.
Uh-huh.
Once you pick a side, you're on that side.
You're on that side, right.
Like a neutral country. Like Sweden or something.
Yeah.
That would both sides know that there's neutral ground that they can go to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have a personal opinion.
Personal opinion, yeah.
You know.
Because, I mean, I could ask you a question, you would definitely give an answer.
I'll give you an answer.
So,
yeah.
you know, that's your style, you know.
Yeah.
You don't avoid any particular issue and everything.
Personally, look, I don't have a problem.
Uh-huh.
I'm not armed. I don't carry a gun.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe that my security apparatus are the angels of the Lord.
Right.
And walk by faith, not by sight. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Either that's real or it isn't.
Mm-hmm. Well, excuse me. I mean, I heard some of that at the meeting, and then some of the people were saying, you know, what type, and they didn't say it directly like this, but what type of image it is to be a pastor walking with a gun or advocating carrying a gun, I guess pointing, saying Bishop Dexter Burke in particular, because he's the one that kind of spearheaded this movement. I guess Cornell Lewis is involved too.
He's a minister.
And he's a minister. So some of the people was wondering, you know, what kind of man of God are you to be advocating walking with guns as the way to patrol?
Well, they're a man like Peter.
Peter, right.
Who walked with a sword.
Uh-huh.
Everywhere.
Right.
All the time. And was with Jesus in the garden and cut the man's ear off, showing off.
Yeah.
With his sword. Jesus said, put the sword away. Touched the man and healed him.
Uh-huh.
So make no mistake about it. Peter had that sword with him everywhere.
Everywhere, okay.
So I think people have a preconceived notion of what quote unquote men of God or women of God or people of God are like, and therefore if they don't fit that paradigm, then they can't be. But be that as it may, we in this country do have a Second Amendment, and you are able to own weapons.
Right.
And that does not mean that you can prepare for war.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean that you could be reckless and create an atmosphere of discontention and fear in the community.
Right.
So if you're creating more fear with the presence of guns being out and drawn, then that is counterproductive to protecting the community if the community is afraid. So, you know. But
I think what I've been hearing up until this point from the proponents who are in favor of armed citizen patrol is what we've done up until this point hasn't really worked. So they feel this is a better method towards providing safety.
They have a right to feel that. Just because nothing has worked doesn't mean what you're about to do will.
And that's true. And
that is not a fundamental. I mean, that's not a solid foundation upon which to build the premise that what we're getting ready to do will work.
Mm-hmm. Well, so far, I mean, I don't know. I truthfully, I haven't heard of any homicides over the past couple of weeks. Now, there's a lot of things that happens that people don't know about.
There have been no homicides on that stretch of block for many, 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 many weeks until there is one.
Since the last incident on Garden Street where the two people were killed inside the house.
That was self-defense.
Self-defense. But that's not to say, you know, sometimes people get caught up into just people getting killed. That's not to say there hasn't been assaults, there hasn't been other things going on too, other than just a homicide.
Well, you and I have had this conversation for what, 20 years?
Yeah.
So when someone, unfortunately, there will be a homicide. Mm-hmm. When it happens, will it be because they failed?
The Citizen Patrol group? I don't think that's fair to put that on.
No more fair than it is to put it on the police.
Right.
Because they don't have the authority or the power or control over the individuals who will assail somebody and the person who winds up getting shot.
Mm-hmm.
That's outside their sphere of influence.
Right.
This is the problem when people think that they are going to control outcomes by what they do.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. They don't have the authority
Right.
to control those kinds of outcomes. They can control the response to things.
Well, that's what Marcus was saying. He's saying a group of teenagers was, I guess, harassing some elderly man, and he got involved, and he was looking to get a gun. He went back and got a shotgun, and the situation got, quelled. So it wasn't like, waiting for the Hartford Police Department to come to the scene. He kind of took the law in his own hand. You always say
He didn't take the law into his own hands. He was a citizen who was defending the life of another person.
Right. So this elderly man was...
No one got hurt.
Yeah, but it's kind of important to know this elderly man was being harassed by teenagers. I mean, I'm trying to remember exactly what...
Right, and so there was an intercession that quelled it before it escalated.
Yes. So it wasn't going to get no better unless someone intervened and get involved.
That's what one would walk away with. We don't know because what happened, and it could not have happened any other way. And what happened was that it was de-escalated.
De-escalated, right.
See, there's different ways to de-escalate things.
Right. And see, that's another thing,
what action has to be done to de-escalate? They're not all the same.
Right.
Because the circumstances are different.
Yeah.
So if you are increasing the likelihood by what you're doing, then you're not de-escalating. You're increasing the potential. Mm-hmm. Those are discussions for deeper heads than mine, but these are why you have elected officials to represent you, to create policies, and then those policies get enforced through your legal system of police. Mm-hmm. So am I in favor of citizen policing? Yes. Mm-hmm. They're called the police. Citizen patrols are called the police department.
But are you in favor of citizens carrying guns, taking control of situations through gun measures? I mean, that's the biggest issue.
I think
that I'm hearing.
I think you don't know who has guns, and that's how it should be. The state of Connecticut is conceal and carry.
No, but the citizen patrol, people like Reverend Cornell Lewis feels they have guns and that they are walking.
And the
guns.
People that spoke at the meeting are opposed to people walking up and down the street announcing that they have guns and are armed.
Right.
In the nighttime.
Right.
On the bullhorns. They don't want that. Mm-hmm. That's what they said.
Okay.
They're the people that live there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. I mean, if I'm a citizen living in a high crime area, and I'm coming home, and I don't know if you want security. I mean, you can't have too much security, in my opinion. If you got enough lights, if you got people watching, it makes you feel a little bit more safer and more comfortable. I don't think I'm going to be.
It would surprise Hartford to know that there are areas in the city where criminal interests have rooted themselves, and the police can't do anything about it. And the citizens have been taken hostage, so to speak. So when we talk about coming home and feeling safe because somebody's walking around, that's relative. That's relative.
Yeah.
Because in the end, it's going to come down to who's in charge. Mm-hmm. And they're not a sustaining presence.
The people you mean with the guns? That's
right.
Control? Yeah, right.
They're not the guard at a gated community.
Right.
They go home.
Right.
And at some point, you're going to upset some bad elements.
Mm-hmm. I heard that.
That are not going to be amused any longer.
Right. That's what Reverend Henry Brown stated.
Right.
So he's already admitting that, people out there breaking the law, doing illegal activities, and they're
criminals.
They're criminals.
That's what they do for a living.
Okay.
They're criminals.
Right.
Criminals are not intimidated because you are upset that they're there. Otherwise they wouldn't be there to begin with.
Right. But when you confront them, like what Reverend Brown is saying, they don't want the police. In most cases, they do try to avoid law enforcement.
Right.
So you're saying you're going to step in and be part of the law enforcement side, because that's basically what you're looking to do. You're looking to patrol and provide safety. So now you're going to go stop. You're going to say, okay, people are selling drugs. They're doing reckless activity. We have our guns. You need to leave. And I think what Reverend Brown is saying, they're not going to just walk away just like that. Because like you said, they're criminals.
They're criminals.
And that's when you're going to get into some real serious confrontations at that point.
So if you live somewhere and you're taking authority where you live, then they'll find somewhere else to go.
Right.
They're not going to be on your block. But if you don't live there,
yeah,
when you leave, they will emerge.
That's true, but I'm still saying what people are concerned with is at some point you're going to cross people, criminals,
and they will exact vengeance.
Right. So either you're going to try to assault or kill them, or they're going to try to assault and kill you.
And then people innocent in the crossfire, or now have to bear the wrath of. They take it out on the innocent community. Because real talk is some of these little criminals have family.
Yeah.
The family live in the community.
Right.
And that's how they make money in the underground economy.
Right.
And the underground economy is a food chain. Now they don't grow the product. They don't make the product. They may be distributors of the product, which means that there's an up level looking for their little piece of cheese.
Yeah.
Where's the cheese? Well, we got this. Well, I don't care about you. Cash flow is off. Handle your business.
Yeah.
And the food chain goes way up somewhere where some people are sitting in these high places, falutin places. Some of them might be elected. Others might be sitting in corporate offices. But people are making money somewhere.
Yeah.
And so you interrupt this, and there's consequences. And if you're not from that community, you may not necessarily be aware of the consequences.
And actually, I believe Reverend Cornell Lewis was involved in this in the past. I think he did this on Bellevue Square. I mean,
this is not Bellevue Square, and these are not those days. The lines are gone. There is no more line. There used to be a line that you didn't cross. That line doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
People do whatever they want, however they want. They don't care. There's no respect for things. So you hit old people with your car. You just shoot randomly. It's a field day. People are driving all over the city with it recklessly. This is where we are.
Well, I'm just saying Reverend Lewis had some previous experience, so maybe he feels
it's not his experience or lack thereof. It's his presence.
Okay.
And he's not present 24 hours a day.
Right.
7 days a week. So if you lived over in some guarded community or gated community where you had guards patrolling your community, like maybe a college campus does, or a corporate office campus, or certain residential housing facilities, it's got a big gate and there's a guard out front 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they patrol. There's a constant presence that keeps bad elements out.
Right.
It doesn't eliminate them. It just says you can't do that here.
Yeah.
Well, where is that 24-hour protection for the community that you're supposedly protecting? You marching once a week or 2 times a week, that's not protection.
Right.
If you're making a statement, Maybe the statement needs to be made, but now that the statement's been made, now what?
Well, I would have loved to hear you make. Well, again, you weren't in.
My purpose there was not to speak. We're not a lecture.
A lecture, yeah. But I would have loved, to get your comments. I mean, because you're making a lot of sense with what you're saying, and that's why I'm like to hear this conversation. Your views on it seems to still be neutral, but you realize it's like kind of your neutral stand, but you're kind of giving evidence why you would be against.
I understand both sides of the
issue. Yeah,
right. Every coin has two sides, and some people are heads, others are tails, and that's all they're ever going to be. But I see the whole coin.
The whole coin, right? Exactly. And I think it's good that you, like you say, you speak on the behalf of the Greater Hartford African American Alliance. So this was not your idea, I believe, personally. It was just something that they wanted you to put together, you and Nyesha.
No. This is the membership thought that it would be good to have a conversation. I concur.
Concurred, okay. Right.
And so we made it happen.
But again, a very good meeting. And the beauty part is, with technology, you can feel, I'm not the same as being at the meet. I know you would like to see me and other people there, but the presence was definitely taken for the people that was there. What, you had the meeting on a Sunday or a Saturday?
It was on Saturday from 11 to 1.
To 1, right.
That's a special meeting. We meet every Saturday at 10, from 10 to 12. Right. This was a special meeting. And
at the American Legion,
right?
Okay.
The purpose was to hear people, not people hear us.
Us, okay.
Or me.
You, right?
But to hear them, so that we could come to a consensus. That's what the Alliance does.
Right. All right. Well put together, man. I'll definitely give you a good A rating for your.
Well, thank you. I have a very capable group of individuals that work tirelessly to make things happen.
Right. All right. Well, like I say, let's see how things go. I don't think this issue is going away from what it sounds like. So,
I would hope that the controversy goes away and that there could be an understanding, among the parties. So that clearly something needs to be done.
Yeah.
Hartford's they're understaffed. They need more police officers.
More police, right? That would definitely be a big help.
You're not going to police your way out of this, but police are a necessary means that help protect and keep the criminal element down. You're always going to have criminal elements.
It's way short of 500. I think that's the number that some people are.
Then you can't patrol certain areas. And so, since you can't patrol certain areas where you're not, criminals are.
Yeah.
And if people in those areas don't vote, are not actively engaged, other areas that are more connected and involved get the protection.
That's important too, man. Use your voice and use your base of your political.
Elections have consequences, and your vote actually matters, even when you don't vote. Because when you don't you speak a lot louder.
That's true.
And you say it's all right the way it is. That's what not voting says. Keep it like it is.
All right. Well, good job again, man. Y'all. Greater African American Alliance is very well organized. I give you a lot of credit how y'all work towards these issues that's relevant to the community.
Dream work makes the team work. No, yeah. Teamwork. There it is. Teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Okay.
Good teams.
Good team. Yeah, teamwork. That's true.
Teams.
You always say you speak on the behalf of the Greater Hartford African American Alliance.
I'm just a guy trying to make it to the end of the week so I can get a cheeseburger and a bowl of ice cream.
Ice cream, right. Do that. All right, well, I don't got much more to say, to be honest, on this topic.
Well, that takes us there. We're going to have another conversation a little later on, right? You got a special guest coming in.
Oh, yeah. Very heavy international.
Heavy hitter. I can't wait to hear this conversation.
Oh, that's good to know, Stan.
Yeah. I wish I was part of it, but I'm not.
You're not? Okay.
Yeah, so Jonathan will do a good job, I'm sure. All right, my friends, our time together has come to an end. Thank you, Mr. Small, for coming in.
You're welcome.
And we will see you all next time. We'll go out with a little Jay Hogarth, and you all have a fabulous rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.